Welcome to Recap Planet. Today, I'm going to recap an American spy action comedy film from 2014 named Kingsman. In 1997, a group of 4 men apprehended a terrorist leader in the Middle East by flying into his compound with a helicopter. Harry Hart, also known as Galahad, was one of the men involved. He threatened to shoot the terrorist unless he gave them the answers they wanted. However, the terrorist revealed a grenade pin in his mouth, leading to his comrade Lee jumping on him to cover the explosion. This sacrifice allowed Harry's other 2 partners, Merlin and Lancelot, to remove their masks. After acknowledging Lee's sacrifice, Harry welcomed Lancelot into the Kingsman agency. Harry then visited Lee's wife Michelle to inform her of her husband's death, giving her a Medal of Valor in Lee's honor. He also gave her a number on the back of the medal in case she needed a favor and used the phrase "Oxford's not brogues" to let him know it was her. Michelle rejected the medal, so Harry went over to Lee's young son Gary, aka Eggsy, and gave it to him instead. 17 years later, in Argentina, Professor James Arnold was being held captive by a group of thugs when Lancelot, now a member of the Kingsman agency, arrived at the scene. After killing the thugs, he helps himself to a drink before answering the door to another knock. Unfortunately, he is cut down by Gazelle, a woman with bladed prosthetic legs, who opens the door for her employer, billionaire Richmond Valentine. Valentine and Gazelle then free Arnold and take him with them. Back in London, Harry goes to a tailor shop that is a front for the Kingsman headquarters. He meets with Merlin and their superior Arthur to mourn Lancelot's death. They also learn that those responsible for Lancelot's death were also involved in incidents in Uganda and Chechnya. Eggsy, now in his early 20s, lives with his mother, her new husband Dean, and his baby sister in a rundown flat, struggling financially. One day, Eggsy and his 2 friends go to a pub where they encounter Dean's group of goons. They approach Eggsy's table and intimidate them into leaving. Outside, Eggsy reveals to his friends that he has stolen the goons' car keys. They take the car and drive recklessly. But they encounter the police, and Eggsy drives the car backward until he crashes into another car. He instructs his friends to run, and he proceeds to drive into the police car. Eggsy is detained at the police station and faces 18 months in prison. He refuses to disclose his friends' identities and calls the number on the medal he wears around his neck. The phrase "Oxford's not brogues" comes to his mind, and Harry comes to bail him out. Harry takes Eggsy to the pub where Dean's goons confront him again. Harry calmly asks them to leave, but the main goon is impolite and orders Harry to leave. Harry responds by locking the front door and saying, "Manners maketh man." He uses his umbrella to grab a glass and attack the main thug before swiftly defeating the rest of them. Eggsy is amazed by Harry's fighting skills, and Harry leaves him with a pat on the shoulder, warning him not to reveal what he has seen. Eggsy returns home and is confronted by Dean about the stolen car. Michelle tries to intervene, but Dean shoves her aside. Harry, who has planted a microphone on Eggsy's shoulder, overhears the altercation and threatens to report Dean's crimes to the authorities unless he lets Eggsy go. Eggsy escapes Dean's goons again and visits the tailor shop where Harry told him to go. Harry proposes Kingsman candidacy to Eggsy, and he decides to join. Eggsy goes underground with Harry to meet other recruits. He becomes friends with a girl named Roxy but is teased by Charlie and his friends. Harry confronts Professor Arnold and demands to know who held him captive. Arnold yells in pain and explodes, leaving Harry in a coma. Valentine learns of Arnold's death and begins to investigate who is after him. The recruits are sleeping when the room fills with water. Everyone except Eggsy finds pipes and uses them to breathe in the toilets. Eggsy tries to open the door but cannot. He then smashes the mirror, releasing the water into the next room where Merlin is overseeing them. Although he praises Roxy and Charlie for their teamwork, he says everyone failed because they did not work together properly, resulting in one recruit drowning. Valentine and Gazelle had a dinner meeting with the Scandinavian Prime Minister and Princess Tilda to discuss Valentine's plan for controlling climate change. While the Prime Minister was supportive, Tilda thought Valentine was insane. Tilda left the dinner and called for the guards. Gazelle attacked the guards with her prosthetic legs, and they took Tilda hostage. The recruits were tasked with training a group of puppies, and Eggsy was assigned a small pug named JB. Despite struggling to get JB to listen to him, Eggsy grew attached to the dog and named him after Jack Bauer. After Harry recovered from his injuries, he, Merlin, and Eggsy learned that Arnold's head exploded due to a chip implanted in his neck. They discovered that the Scandinavian Prime Minister had the same implant. Merlin traced it back to Valentine, who was suspected of being behind the disappearance of multiple world leaders and celebrities. Eggsy showed Harry and Merlin a video of Valentine's latest announcement, in which he planned to distribute free SIM cards worldwide. Harry went undercover to investigate Valentine's estate further. While there, he and Valentine shared a meal from McDonald's and discussed their love for James Bond movies. However, Harry didn't gain much information except for the fact that Valentine's aide had a pamphlet for a hate group church in Kentucky. The recruits were down to Eggsy, Roxy, Charlie, and 3 of Charlie's friends. Their next assignment was to jump out of a plane and hit a target. Merlin instructed them to figure out what to do when one of their teammates didn't have a parachute. Eggsy had the group hold hands before pulling each other's chutes. Only Eggsy and Roxy made it, and they pulled Roxy's chute at 300 feet. Eggsy met Harry at the tailor shop, where Harry showed him a room filled with various weapons, including a hand grenade disguised as a lighter, a pen that triggered poison, and shoes with poison-tipped blades. When they returned to the lobby, they found Valentine and Gazelle trying on suits in the shop. On their next assignment, Eggsy, Roxy, and Charlie were sent to a nightclub to speak with a young woman. They were drugged and interrogated, and Eggsy woke up tied to train tracks. The interrogator tried to get information about the Kingsman and Harry from Eggsy, but he refused to talk. Eggsy was run over by a train but survived.
Congratulations. Bloody well done.
And Harry told him he and Roxy had passed the test. Charlie refused to die for the Kingsman and was sent home.
Charlie, time to go home.
Fuck you!
As part of their final test, Arthur and Merlin instruct Eggsy and Roxy, respectively, to shoot their dogs. Eggsy is unable to do so, but a gunshot is heard from Roxy. Arthur dismisses Eggsy and sends him home. Disappointed, Eggsy takes Arthur's car and drives back home, where he hugs his mother. However, he notices that his mother has a black eye, which angers him. He goes to the pub to find Dean, with the intention of fighting him. However, the car mysteriously drives itself to Harry's place. At Harry's place, Eggsy is disappointed when Harry reveals that the gun had a blank in it, and he failed his test. Harry also informs Eggsy that Amelia is still alive and works for the Kingsman in Berlin. Meanwhile, Roxy is appointed as the new Lancelot. Harry travels to a hate group church in Kentucky, where he overhears a nasty sermon from the bigoted leader. Valentine and Gazelle activate the signal on the phones in the church using the SIM cards they are distributing. The signal causes everyone, including Harry, to go into a violent rage and start attacking each other. Harry defends himself by shooting, stabbing, bludgeoning, impaling, and blowing up anyone who tries to attack him until he is the only survivor. Eggsy, Merlin, and Arthur watch from their respective locations. Outside, Harry confronts Valentine and Gazelle, and Valentine shoots Harry in the head, killing him. Eggsy returns to the tailor shop to meet with Arthur, who reveals that he was swayed by Valentine's plan of mass genocide, which he believes would benefit the planet. Arthur has tried to convince all world leaders to join him in his plan. Eggsy mentions that Harry had recorded Valentine's confession, and Arthur takes out his pen to activate the poison he put in Eggsy's drink. However, Eggsy had switched the drinks, distracting Arthur by asking about the paintings on the wall. Arthur dies from the poison, and Eggsy toasts to Harry's memory. Eggsy receives critical information and immediately heads to Merlin and Roxy with it. Together, they set out to prevent Valentine's plan from being executed. Roxy is tasked with using 2 giant balloons to launch a missile at one of Valentine's satellites, while Eggsy and Merlin infiltrate his base, where he is hosting a party for everyone involved in his scheme. Eggsy pretends to be Arthur by using his invitation to gain entry. With that motivation, Eggsy continues on his mission to save the world. Roxy successfully makes it to the satellite but encounters problems when one of the balloons bursts at high altitude. Despite this setback, she manages to launch the missile before the second balloon bursts, allowing her to safely land using her parachute. Eggsy locates the Scandinavian PM and tranquilizes him before hacking into his laptop. However, Charlie appears and holds Eggsy at knife point. Using the ring on his finger, Eggsy electrocutes Charlie, then evades and shoots his way through Valentine's gunman as he runs back to the plane. The missile hits Valentine's satellite and delays the signal from going live, but Valentine gains control of another, closer satellite and activates the signal using a biometric scanner that Merlin cannot bypass. The signal goes live globally, causing people to fight each other in various cities. Eggsy's quick thinking leads him to call Roxy, who advises him to have Tilda lock herself in the bathroom. Eggsy is later cornered by gunmen, but Merlin triggers the implants, causing their heads to explode. Eggsy makes his way back to Valentine and Gazelle, shooting at them and momentarily stopping the signal by removing Valentine's hand from the scanner. Gazelle tries to kill Eggsy, but he poisons her using the blade in his shoe. After a fierce battle, Eggsy pulls off one of Gazelle's legs and throws it at Valentine's back, impaling him and deactivating the signal for good. With the world saved, Merlin and Roxy congratulate Eggsy for his heroism. The movie's initial credits begin, and it later cuts to Michelle and Dean in a pub. Eggsy enters the pub, dressed in a fine suit, and tells Michelle that his new job has allowed him to secure a new home for her, himself, and his sister away from Dean. Dean, along with his goons, attempts to bully Eggsy, but he locks the pub's front door and says Harry's famous line, "Manners maketh man." Eggsy then throws a glass with the umbrella hook at Dean's face and challenges the other goons with a grin, repeating Harry's other famous line.
Are we gonna stand around here all day? Or are we gonna fight?
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment and let us know which film you want us to explore next. Take care.